Massive. It's Dragonette in town tonight for a big show. Welcome to Kelowna. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to KelownaNow specifically.
We are in Kelowna now.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're in Kelowna
Like you were
now.
in Kelowna, but now you're specifically in Kelowna now.
Now we're Kelowna
Yeah,
now.
it's exciting stuff.
Amazing.
Also exciting, new album, Royal Blues, just came out a couple days ago. Where was the album recorded? What was the
All
recording
over the
process?
place.
All over the place, yeah.
Yeah. The recording process was a bit itinerant. And
Itinerant.
yeah, went into...
I'd say half of it was done in our studio at home.
Yeah, and
And-
then a lot of it was done just in random studios around Canada, America, and the UK.
Interesting.
mostly.
So your studio at home, this is in Toronto, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Now, Dragonette recently turned a decade. I guess it was last year you guys turned a decade old.
We don't like to talk about
Been
that.
on the scene for a while. Is there a specific moment when you guys are coming up that you realized like music was going to work out for you?
We're still waiting
I
for
think
it.
it's coming soon, man. It's really exciting.
Zing!
I think the truth is there's no other option. So we just make it work.
So, yeah.
Because we got nothing else.
Because we're useless.
Maybe
Otherwise-
there's a moment where you stop calling mom and being like, no, this is gonna work out. Like,
Well,
I promise.
That actually happened really early
Yeah.
for us because we had we wrote 1 or 2 songs and sent them to the guy who's now our manager, who was like he actually called and said, "What do you want to do with these songs? And do you want to sell these songs?" And I was like, "No, we want to be a band." He's like, "Okay, I'll see what let me have a listen to it." And it got back to us a couple of days later. He's like, "You guys want to open for Duran Duran?" And we all of a sudden were like, "Shit, we need more than 11 minutes of music and we need to put a band together." But at that moment, it felt like, wow, if it's this easy, you've got a couple songs.
But the truth is, I think the music industry in the current way that it works, I think you can't just like do one thing and then you're just clear sailing. You have to work, and I think it's a very select group of people that are like, okay, I've made it, and now I'm good, I'm set for life. You have to work it really hard at maintaining your relationship with your fans and putting out music and playing shows. And I think the "we've made it" thing is not quite how it works for most musicians now. Am I right?
Yeah, go with that.
Yeah.
So you
Maybe
guys
that's
kind
not
of
very
start
nice.
at Duran Duran, and then it goes down.
Exactly.
But like coming up, when did you guys release your first album? 2005, right around the same time like DFA was blowing up in Toronto. I think like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, LCD Sound System, all putting out kind of dance punk albums at that time, or at least that's what I was calling it.
Yeah.
I was into it. What was the scene like coming up in Toronto, being a Canadian band?
We left. It did
Well,
not.
It was very
That's what it's
indie.
like.
It was really indie rock,
Yeah.
and that was actually kind of why we were making the music that we were making, is because it was so different for us.
We felt unrepresented in the.
You guys went overseas, right?
No, but we almost made it as a reaction to how indie rock everything was, and we were like, no, we're gonna make shiny, sparkly, poppy music, which actually it was a bit punk rock, just incidentally, because we can't help that we
Yeah.
are indie.
And this is like mid-2000s indie, like Modest Mouse, flannel indie, not like nowadays indie.
Yeah, flip phones.
No, no.
Flip phones. And,
Phones indie.
yeah.
Yeah, who else? It was like Toronto was all about. It was broken social scene, and I remember when we moved to England, we moved to London, and it was like Kaiser Chiefs, that kind of
Yeah.
Killers.
yeah,
Killers.
that awesome music.
Yeah.
But that was kind of
Different.
like the only sound there was, and we wanted to like we reacted to that.
So on that note, what was your time like in England? What was the experience like? How did people like the music?
Joel doesn't remember any of it.
Yeah, that's the place where you're allowed to drink at lunch.
Yeah, taking full advantage.
Yeah.
Love the culture.
It was cool. It was cool. I mean, we didn't have the climate that we were talking about in Toronto. That climate was in the UK too. We were like, in a way, we had another strike against us because we are not from the UK. It's actually, unless you're like an enormous American band, like landing triumphantly in the UK.
No, but that's not quite true, because I think that we got attention because we moved to UK when the Scissor Sisters were like top of the heap, and they are not from there. But I think that's why we were.
But I think what Dan's getting is it wasn't like we landed in London into like, oh, here's all our like
compatriots.
Our contemporaries doing what we're doing. I think we've always felt a bit like out of place wherever we are. Just for whatever reason, the time we're doing the music we're doing it, or where we're doing it, for whatever reason, we always felt like we're a bit insular. So it wasn't we? I think we expected to go to London, being like.
And them rolling out an electro,
like
fluorescent
open,
pink carpet.
Well, open arms, and it was actually like, oh, there's not really any other bands doing this here either.
Yeah. But it did expose us to. From there, we got to play in a lot of other countries that we never would have been able to. Like we kind of got used to playing in Spain. We played in Germany. We played in Portugal. We played in Italy. We played a lot of them really bad gigs. But it was, but it at least it opened our minds to being like in terms of seeing what our band could be, and to some degree, in varying degrees, like how universal our music could be. Little pockets of people all over the world digging what we do. So in terms of our growth as like musicians or performers who get to have a life doing this, it was amazing for that. It totally changed, probably forever, our perspective on where you can take your music.
That's really cool. It's good stuff. So, like on that note, you guys have obviously logged a lot of kilometers, like probably any good Canadian band. When you're on the road like this, doing the tour bus thing, what are some highlights of the tour life? What are some lowlights of the tour life?
Low moments definitely are when there is no internet or cable satellite.
Priorities.
Driving through the Rockies, yeah. We forgot to like pre-PVR or pre-download anything.
I feel like that was
watch.
a moment. I really feel like it was we gelled. Something good happened because
Maybe it was
we
like
didn't
the
have the
final
internet.
World Cup game that I was trying to watch on the George Washington Bridge, and every time we passed under a big beam of steel, like it froze again, just as like a guy's about to score a goal or whatever. I remember like screaming.
Oh, life
in my
is
mouth.
so hard.
Well, that's it. If that's
So
the worst
hard.
thing, then it's pretty great.
We have a really good time together. So really, none of us.
At least on camera.
No, we do. It's actually when you hear other bands talk when you talk to other bands about touring
Especially
together.
bands that have been around for 10 years.
I use the term a decade.
Yeah, thanks
I'm not
for
sure
that.
what
Thanks
sounds
for that.
better.
Sounds longer than 10 years.
It does.
We're
No, but we
checking.
Generally, they're all like, yeah, we hate each other and we're all on our own separate buses and we have our own lawyers. And
there are very few downsides, except for like living out of a bag. But other than that, it's just really fun. And the fact that we get to do this still after a decade, it feels really good. We're very grateful that it's our job still.
At least you guys all look good still. So like,
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
try.
So, Dragonette, I guess maybe the big breakthrough for a lot of people, especially out here on the West Coast, is probably Hello, what you guys did with Martin Solveig. You guys have also worked with Cascade, Big Data. What's it like collaborating with the EDM artists? What's the process like?
Tina does it all. Joel and I sit back and
There you go.
count the money, man.
All of those collaborations happen in such different ways. So I think what's interesting is making a song with somebody and just like you just kind of like send it off into the world, and you don't. It's different than when we write a song together and we're responsible for it. We're in control of it. We have to promote it. We are going to play it. And when you collaborate with somebody, it kind of has all this a whole other team around it, and you don't really know what's going to happen to it. But in terms of, and it's exciting to watch that happen.
I was going to say, what's the experience like watching it kind of rise? Like
Well-
hit number one?
Well, that I didn't really understand that when that was happening with Hello or with the Cascade song. I don't pay a lot of attention, and so it didn't really hit me until a bit
watching
later.
You were too busy listening to Ricky Lee Jones' record. You had no idea what was going on in the.
No, it's hard to. I don't know. I find it hard to pay attention to that. But yeah, the process is different. Like with Cascade, Fire in Your New Shoes, it's like I had never met the guy, and I got a check, and I only met him when we shot the video afterwards. But then sometimes you're in the room with somebody and you have a creative dynamic, and yeah, it's different every time.
Okay, something you guys did do. I know you've played a Center of Gravity in Kelowna.
Couple times.
Yeah, a couple times. I've seen it at Squamish before. You guys have obviously probably played 1,000 festivals. What's it like playing a festival set versus playing a set in a club like you will be tonight at Sapphire?
Well, it's scarier because it's like there's a lot of people out there, but they might not be here for us, and they might be very passive during your set. But generally speaking, we've been pretty lucky. You know, I mean, so I remember Squamish being like, "Holy shit, there's a fuck ton of people."
Hey,
Can I say those words on the?
There's a lot of people there.
There was a lot of people there, and then we
Here's
went
the
on,
question.
and people were super excited and having a great time.
This is the question that you should ask us.
Okay.
What would you rather play? A room? Okay, I'm going to ask Joel. A club show where there's just like it's completely underattended. There's like there's 20 people in a big room. There's 20 people, or else you're on a festival stage and nobody's there to see you. Which would you rather do?
Oh, that's tough. Actually.
Yeah, right.
That's actually
Good
tough.
question. Write that down.
Okay. Really know. Nobody's
And
at
wine.
either of your shows. What do you do?
Or if you're at a festival show and everyone's there to see you and everyone's enjoying you, or you're in a club show and everybody's enjoying you. I think that's what your question is. What would you rather
More
do?
or less.
A baller club show
Yeah.
or a baller festival show? I don't know.
They're different, but they're both awesome.
But the other questions are interesting.
I guess like one of the big differences may be at a music festival, maybe
my
you
answer too
interact with the other artists or something. Maybe you get to see a new town a little bit more. Versus a club show, everybody's kind of there to see you.
Yeah,
You
there's
know?
definitely like this sort of party vibe that happens at a festival, and it's almost like a reunion because there's certain artists that you like reconnect.
Only see there.
Yeah, and you have like experiences with, because there also is this sort of like, because there's so much audience there, there's less onus on every artist to be amazing or like really pay attention, and so there's a little bit of a like, well,
Take some pressure.
screw it, like let's just have fun vibe,
Yeah.
and so everybody's kind of in that vibe, as opposed to when you're putting on a concert, it's your concert, you came there, you brought your own production and everything. There's a bit more anxiety and there's a bit more onus on us to be responsible, and so that's a little bit of a difference, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like it's
No?
easier at the club
they're
day. It's
definitely
just like
different.
everyone. It's like everyone's on your team. You're just gonna. All you got to do is like
Phone it in.
not phone it in.
No,
Not phone it in. Just
no.
like you just have a good time, and they're gonna have a good time, and it's less work than
Yeah, maybe.
Generally, when we play festivals, we know there's going to be a core audience for us there, like in Canada especially. But like, it's like the other people that you got to try and reach that aren't necessarily there for you. They might be there for Mac Miller. But you're like, okay, I want to win over those guys. I want them to be on Team Dragonette too, and so
Who do I have to be?
Great too.
so you just like you it's like it's a little more pressure to be like,
So we have different opinions.
yeah.
It's great. Collaboration.
Yeah.
That's the key. Well, I think that's all we got for today, guys. I really appreciate you coming around, doing the interview. You're really
Thank
nice
you.
about it. I'm Dylan. Yeah, we'll do these.
Thanks, Dylan.
Boom.
Dylan, pleasure.
Okay, it's a pleasure to meet you. One last thing before we sign off here. So our name, KelownaNow, stuff that matters. Can we look into the camera and say that?
KelownaNow,
Stuff that matters.